Hi guys, welcome to my latest junk journal, and this one is basically a beautiful front cover that I received in the post. It's a brochure, and what I've done is literally taken the image of this lovely young lady set in period war time and taken elements from the brochure, fussy cut, items from my own personal stash like vintage bus tickets, and used another magazine, basically a magazine that was falling apart anyway, and just collaged with little bits of photographs, vintage tape, all types of things that I've got in my collection just to make this front cover more exciting. So it really is putting that junk into the junk journal. And then I've just taken this vintage ribbon. It's plain, it's simple, down the outside edge just to reinforce, because what I've done is put it on a 12 by 12 sheet of flimsy card, and so I didn't want it cracking as I've sewn the signature in. And also, this is the very first time I've actually used dental floss to actually sew the signature in. There's no need to wax on dental floss because it's already got that coating, and I actually found it to be really quite easy to use, so just bear that in mind. That's a tip that I've picked up over the last couple of years, but never put it into practice. Anyway, there's me gassing on. Let's get inside. So this journal has got lots of different elements and lots of vintage ephemera. I recently came across at a car boot sale this little envelope, and what I've done is photocopied some of the items here, especially as I know that this particular shop in Farnham, the Spencers, the Drapers, don't actually exist. They went out of business probably around about 30 years ago, so I feel quite confident that I can actually make copies of the ephemera here. And inside, I went to Stratford upon Avon sometime, I think it was last year, and whilst there I just got this remnant here, and I just love the Scottish tartan that's going on. And also this is whilst we were taking a little trip to see William Shakespeare's birthplace. So I'm going to put that to one side, and then we've just got a little bit of, it's probably a little bit difficult to see with the lighting, but I've just got this little bit of trim that has been hand stitched. There's a little bit of red felt and a little bit of blue organza, which has got this thin gold thread holding it together. And there's not much of it, and I just wanted to bring a little bit of red back into the journal here. And we've got a journaling card tucked into this pocket, and we've just got a little coffee stained little coin envelope here. On the right hand side we've got this vintage postcard, and this is sort of more like on a gentleman's theme going on. So we've just got this paper measuring tape at the bottom, being used mostly as a tuck, excuse me, early in the morning for me. We've just got a little image here from Somerset Studios, and we've just got a little journaling bag, and this was very kindly made to me by Anne, and I'm just love the fact that we've just got some coffee stained paper, a little piece of turquoise ripped paper, and so that is a great way of using this lovely embellishment that's been sent to me by Anne. Then the pages are coffee stained, and I was trying to use up some of my ephemera that I've got sitting around close to hand. I'd done this journaling tag at some point, and I've never really got round to using them. I mean, it was a little bit, I have a cuddle bug, and these really are for a big shop, and so I really had to work out how to sandwich the die in. So I haven't done many, and I've just turned it into a tag, but the tag is glued on like a tuck spot. So we've got this little piece of card here, and behind we've just got this little piece of ephemera. We've just got this lovely vintage lady and her dog. It's not the best photograph. I don't tend to alter things in Photoshop, but that is an original copy. Then I found in my collection, or where I've been off in the car boot sales, I was really kind of excited that we've just got this star finder here, and it just adds a more of a realistic view and just something a little different to add into the journal. And we've just got this original photograph of a young gentleman and a child up on the right hand corner. I made a little coin envelope, but this came from a sewing pattern, and using a little piece of ephemera we've just got how to make some cough candy lozenges. We have another vintage photo, another little vintage image of this young lady. Just pull that out from under the clip, and she's riding a bicycle here. Not too sure what park, but I just really adored that little image. Then we've just got some graph paper. We've just got some images again from Somerset Studios. Now these are copies of some of the tags that you have seen if you look back in my videos, and so I just wanted to enclose a little bit of my own collage work. Yet again, we're just using the paper measuring tape, and in this little corner is a very, very, very small image of a little postcard which has a little saying from Jane Austen, and that's just more packaging that's been repurposed. And this is an old piece of collage. This is from, not collage as in you layer it up, but from college. My word, I'm struggling today. And this is somebody that's been studying history. And we've just got this little piece of ephemera from a post office savings, which I've just turned into a pocket, and then you've got this journaling tag tucked in, and with all the creams and the blues I thought it went quite well. As you can see, lots and lots of writing here in the smallest of handwriting. Again, this is another photocopy of an old envelope that I have in my supplies, and I love the fact it says about stockings being repaired by the Flying Cleaners Limited. Yet again, to the best of my knowledge, they no longer are in existence, but they were established in 1935. Inside we've got a piece of real estate, as you would call it here, and this literally is a set of deeds dating back to the 1920s, and I just thought I would leave that as it is. It can be journaled upon, but it's a nice piece of original ephemera. Here we have an insurance certificate here. Yet again, this is a copy of the original, and we've got Norwich Union Fire Insurance Society Limited, and yet again that goes back to 1914, and it's just a nice little piece. I folded it where it's been folded. I mean, these are the natural, this is how I incorporated it, because if I refold it, because of it just isn't going to sit correctly, so, and that just tucks nicely like so. I've just got this one sheet of ledger paper here, and this is Acres Grown, and this is about crop produce. So it's original, so it's a little bit tattered and worn. I haven't made a copy, I've just left it as is. I just think that is a nice piece of unusual ledger paper. And again, going across to the right hand side, I've got a little diary, a little conservative diary, and I've just taken out some of the pages and put a little bit of fabric binding and actually glued it onto an envelope, and the envelope I've just made out of an old magazine, so it's in black and white with a little picture of a little cottage in the background, and it's got one of the original pages inside, and as you can see, the Constitution Yearbook 1939, and then I've just put some tracing paper in there and I've glued it on, so this way it can be written on at a later date. Tucked behind is another little piece of paper, just made a little envelope, yet again with some iron-on transfers. you can see that there's some pattern paper that's been put onto this coffee stained paper, and then this is ready to be journaled on or have something tucked inside, and that just sits back into the little envelope. I've got some original little scrap of newspaper dating back to the 1930s. This is all about letter writing. They were looking for jobs at the time. I've even reused the sellotape. As you can see, it's discolouring over a period of time. Here we have a tea bag which has been embossed. Basically, I'll explain that if anybody is of interest how I've achieved this little tea bag design, but I just wanted to start using some of my tea bags but in a different way. Here we have a belly band, an old vintage image. You've got this, they're obviously some affair, there's lots of people. I would imagine they've come off of a train and they're greeting their husband, and this is just some real ephemera that I've collected. More bills and somebody doing all their ledger, doing their finances, and this is dated 1925. This is a copy yet again from the same bank book, and this goes on to say about Barclays Bank Limited and explains the beginnings. And what I've done is literally turned it, glued it in, made it into a pocket. And behind here we've got a glassine bag and a little journaling tag. Yet again, this is one of my collage pieces, and it is a photocopy of one of my original pieces of work. Centre of the signature, and as I said, I use dental floss, so really quite thinly. The tags are there, and this is part of my coffee staining from using a plastic doily, and I just really like the fact that that is left plain and you've just got the coffee stained image. So for the moment that is the centre of the signature. More of the coffee staining, and I've left that yet again. We've got a tuck spot here with this old a little camera disc for a viewfinder. Piece of old ephemera, Sail the Great Lakes. This is from an American Star magazine, a vintage one. Just as I said, using up bits and pieces that I've got to hand. Like this map, this is map of London. We've got the Marble Arch here. This is an AA map, and I know it dates back to the 1940s. And we've just got a little section here. It's just been put on for decoration. Here we have the other side of the ledger paper, which I've just glued at the bottom and made it into a tuck. We've got the post office savings book, and yet again I just used that dental floss to sew this little one together. Yet again it is a copy of the original that I have in my collection, and so it's just a little fun element. And a little vintage bridge tag here, so how to play bridge, the table and the couple, and just a nice little piece of ephemera. Another tea bag image, yet again that's been embossed and inked up. Little photograph with a little bit of cheesecloth underneath, and this works as a tuck spot as well. I've yet to put anything underneath, but that works as a tuck. More coffee staining, yet again that paper measuring tape, a plastic playing card, and a nice little joker dating back yet again to the 1940s. And because these are plastic coated, what I've actually done is stripped the playing card. I've literally taken the back and the front and separated them, and thus I've got a paper section that I can be glued straight into the journal. I have in the past tried gluing the playing card down the plastic side, and eventually, no matter what type of glue you use, it's going to peel off. It needs some sort of surface to adhere to, so that's why this playing card has been, the back's been separated from the front. And we've just got another little piece of ephemera which has been photocopied, which is in my collection, and this is for embroidery. Another little piece of vintage newspaper, and yet again I just love the fact we've got this image of the Moomins here, and they were definitely looking for a place of work, so we've got all types of adverts of jobs that were available in the 1940s. We just got this little British snaps in the corner. This is original piece of ephemera. It's in a little triangle. It seemed an absolute ideal way to turn it into a tuck spot. Little piece of ephemera off of a sewing pattern. I've obviously just kept that, but because of the coloration. And this is an old button card without any buttons. I mean, as you can see, exceedingly worn and raggy. Here I've just used a little piece of linen which I've double folded and glued down and turned into a little fabric pocket. We've got a little piece of ephemera here, yet again a copy of this young gentleman. An original postcard, and this is from Clacton-on-Sea, somewhere that I would go years ago to go on holiday, just a lovely location. But it was originally stuck into an old scrapbook from the looks of it, and we still have the vintage stamps on there. And then just this is a knitting pattern which I've just coffee stained, and you've got an area that can be journaled on. Another one of my tags, but this time what I've done is stuck it down onto the paper measuring tape, put a little bit of flowery trim on it and used it as a tuck spot, and this is the southern hemisphere and all the wonderful star locations. And then I've got this original postcard here, good wishes from Bonn in Germany, from Tommy to Fred. I mean, and that has all been decoratively glued and lots of pieces of glitter. I can't age it, but or maybe I can. March the 25th, 1919. So I just love that, and that just says to Fred, wishing you something happy returns of the day. So I would imagine that was somebody's birthday, but that's a lovely piece of ephemera. So there's the star finder. Just got some little pieces of designer card here, just tucked in there, as I said, using up the little bits and pieces that I've got to hand. We've got games with flowers, and we just got this little journaling book at the back there that is just tucked in behind this little tuck. And in here, more ephemera, and this is from my grandfather. Know the Ropes, a boat owner's guide. And I just love the fact it tells you about how to tie your ropes, on the side of your keys, your clints, bits and posts alongside another boat. So just a lovely little piece of ephemera that hasn't been copied, that is as it is. Then on the back I've just got this old magazine page, and for interest I've just collaged up with a lot of vintage style of bus tickets, little stamp, and then we've just got this page, it's got a bus ticket. You can turn it over and it just thus reveals some of the old images going back, give you a nostalgia moment. And then at the back what I've done is I've got this very large piece of ledger, yet again old deeds, and then it opens out, so we've got a lovely big area to journal on, and just a little bit of the old typewriter there because it's original piece of ephemera. So there you go guys, that has been my latest junk journal, and I hope to speak to you soon. Take care, bye bye.